Hello, everyone. I'm Andy.
And I am Sean.
And this is the Commander's Brew.
This is our 1-year anniversary episode.
Riku Revisited.
Riku!
Welcome back. 1 full year of Commander's Brew.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? I find it hard to believe.
It flew by. Can I say that?
Oh, did it ever? We're 52 episodes deep now.
I was listening to some old episodes, trying to pull stuff off of them, and there was episodes that I'm like, are you telling me this episode was in the teens? It feels like we just did that episode.
Yeah. There's a lot of episodes I thought were 20, 30 episodes in, and they were in the first month.
Yeah.
There's a couple we started this when before Origins was dropped.
Is that true?
Yeah, because the one of the early episodes we did was
right.
Kithian and Nissa, right?
So we're revisiting the very first Commander we brewed around, and as usual, we'll do 2 takes.
Yep.
So 52 episodes. This makes 104 decks that we've brewed.
That's right. We've never brewed. Well, we super brewed Carador.
Yeah. So that sort of doesn't count.
Out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only one where we didn't.
If we're going to count braids as illegal, if we're not going to count that one,
that was a bit of a mistake on my part. Just assuming it wasn't. But you know what? That's so funny because everyone's made a mistake like that in Commander. I feel like at some point or another where they've put a card in, they're like, "Really? That's banned?" Yeah. Maybe just not as their commander. Maybe they'd be smart enough to check first. But you know what? That was early in the run, was it?
Braids was pretty early. Yeah, Braids was pretty early.
Yeah.
8 or 9.
That's true. Okay, great. So first 10 episodes. You can be afforded those mistakes. We've grown so much over the past year. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, right? So if you're seeing the podcast, you can see our happy birthday banner behind us. And we got these things that you blow into that I bought at the dollar store. I thought they made noise, so it's just these things.
They don't have a noise-making aspect to them other than the crinkling of the foil paper at the end of
them. Yeah, those weird tubes that flick out, and they're supposed to go bee, but they don't do that.
And we've chosen the colors. Sean chose blue. I chose green. Together, they actually make my favorite guild, Simic.
Simic, yeah.
So I guess I win the choosing.
My shirt is my favorite guild.
That's right. Is it League?
Is it League? Glory to the Fire Mind.
It is. What we decided to do for this episode, revisiting, coming back to Riku of Two Reflections, which was one of the original inspirations for the whole show.
Yeah.
This commander, because it's got such distinct sides, we thought it would be so easy to brew 2 very different decks around this card, and we ended up doing that.
And guess what? It's easy to brew 2 more very different decks.
It really is, and we really did.
There was a moment in our run early on where I was starting to do some math where I was like, what if we run out of commanders?
Yeah.
If we do 2 episodes every week, or 2 decks every week, new commanders all the time, mathematically, we will have used up all the commanders. They don't invent new commanders faster than we brew episodes on.
Exactly, yeah. And especially since sometimes we'll do an episode on a guild. We'll do Is It? And then it's we'll take 2 different commanders from that. That's burning those 2 commanders.
Yeah.
We didn't do 1 on, whoever. We just, we took 2 for each of that. But luckily there's commanders like Riku. And there's other themes, of course. We've done we've done theme episodes. We haven't done one of those in a while, actually.
No, it's time to get back to one of those for sure.
But Riku is the OG. He's our boy. Teamer colored. Spells, creatures. It lays it all out there for you, and it embodies a lot of us too, right? Simic is my favorite favorite guild. Is It is your favorite guild.
Yeah, and Riku, that's his activation costs are the Simic cost or the Is It cost.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is our card.
This is our card right here, y'all.
Yeah, and if you're watching the video version,
let's pull it up on the screen.
Here it is.
Yay, Riku. So Riku of Two Reflections. 2, blue, red, green. Legendary human wizard for a 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay Is It, red and a blue. If you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. Or
whenever
another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay Simic, green and blue. If you do, put a token that's a copy of that creature onto the battlefield. 2 sides. Creature side, spell side. It's easy.
Yep.
We're going to keep it on budget.
Yeah, always $50 American.
We didn't discuss this. Did you keep it to 50 including Riku? Because
no,
Riku is
I didn't
pricey.
Count Riku because he's pricey. Yeah,
he's up to like 10 plus bucks.
$11 now, which is. Do you remember what he was when we first did this?
Ooh.
I think he was like $6 or $7, maybe $8.
Yeah, he was.
I think it was like $8.
Something like 8. Something like 8. Yeah.
So he's gone up in price because they're not printing new Rikus.
No.
Again, hopefully they will in the new commander sets. Hopefully they'll get back to some of these older commanders. Toss this guy in a 4-color deck that has the support would be great. So if you're listening, Wizards, get on that. But yeah, I didn't count him because he's so expensive. What did you do?
Wrestled with that idea. I ended up counting him.
Okay.
I squeezed mine down to under 50, including Riku.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't, and I would have had a real hard time if I had done that. So
Fair.
What I did was and like my reasoning for it, I think is sound. So like if you built Riku the first time you listen to the first episode, you have your Riku.
Yeah.
So now you can build another deck around Riku, and since it's just the one commander you're swapping back and forth, that's easy.
That's a good sell. I didn't think of it that way, but I did try to use as few repeat cards as possible.
Right, me too. And I think I did pretty good.
There's a couple I couldn't have avoided.
Yeah, sure. There's going to be a few.
Yeah.
But there's also a few cards that were in both of our original decks that are just out of budget range.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll probably get to that, right?
Yeah, we will. Okay.
Great.
So let's break it down for you. Oh, before we do though, let's do a 1-year anniversary. One thing that has changed in the last year is we have a sponsor now, the Wizards Tower, wizardtower.com. Here is an ad.
Hello everybody. I'm a fancy vampire and I'm setting up a fancy vampire party for my vampire friends. We're going to invite some humans too, but they will be the hors d'oeuvres. Nonetheless, I need magic cards for my party because we vampires love them. And if we order from the Wizards Tower, wizardtower.com, and I use the coupon code Tower of Brews, I will get 5% off any order $15 or more. And if I'm in Canada, that order over $15 of Magic Singles only will ship for free. I like that. I also like the 3% they give me back on orders to use on future orders. Oh, I'll be ordering again. Of that you can be, positive. That's blood.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, the 1-year anniversary ad from Wizards Tower. Love those guys.
Yeah,
They're a real reason why the podcast was able to grow.
For sure.
In the latter half of the first year, and we got to thank Dave and Jillian from Wizards Tower so much for their support and being able to give us product that we can give away to our listeners. We haven't done a giveaway in a little bit, but
we gave away some Eternal Masters recently.
That's true, actually.
So we're waiting for Eldritch Moon to drop so we can start giving some of that away.
Yep. And they've just been the greatest. They've just been so supportive. And also we got to thank our patrons at our Patreon page, because that's another huge reason we've been able to make the quality of the show better and get on YouTube and get the stuff we needed to make that happen. So man, thank you guys so much. It's been so good. This show wouldn't be here still if it wasn't for the listeners and the viewers and everybody.
Well, one other thing that we started too since then is we do a monthly Brew and Brawl on Twitch.
Exactly.
That's another thing we do. So thanks to the viewers and listeners of that as well.
Of course.
Lots of thanks
to go around, and it's a pleasure every week to see people tweeting at us and saying they're enjoying the show and everything, and that's what makes it worth it. We're just happy we can do something like this and have people enjoy it even just a little bit. So
yeah.
Very stoked. Oh, and you know what? I mean, while we're just thanking people off the top of the show here, we can't thank our fellow podcasters enough, right?
Absolutely.
Jimmy Wong, Josh Lee Kwai got us like really going. Commander, Phil, Nate, and Sean have been so supportive. Those guys got us really rolling. They talked about us before I think anyone. And yeah, those guys, and Jason Alt, of course, from Brainstorm Brewery, who came on the show, did an interview with us, and helped me get into the Commander sort of scene there, writing some articles for Brainstorm Brewery, and just been so supportive and so great. Man, the community is great. The Commander community is the best.
So we hope to keep going. Bring you another year of great budget decks under $50, and yeah,
of course.
As always, let us know if you build them and play them. We love those stories. Yeah, cool.
Love them.
Cool.
So let's get to it. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get to the stuff.
Riku.
So we focused a lot with Riku on your side. So what are the differences that you're going to bring to this one? So quick rundown of what you did before and what you're planning to do this time.
So before I was spell side, and I used mostly spells that generated tokens, and mostly spells that would like fireball out people to death. A lot of those tokens were Eldrazi Scions or Spawns, so I would just get a lot of extra mana that way. It was very rampy, very tokeny, very trampley. This one's going to be a bit different. This one, there's a lot of like self-mill kind of stuff, right? So I'm going to get a lot of stuff in my graveyard. I'm going to use that as sort of like pseudo-tutor type of thing, right? I'm going to pull key spells out of my graveyard. I'm going to retrace stuff. I'm going to flash back stuff, double it up, and just put giant... It's still some token creatures. You're still going to win with creatures, but hopefully I'll be casting them via spells and doubling them.
Great. Okay, cool. For the creature side, I feel like I had a bit more flexibility, possibly. But, of course, you want to... originally, I focused on enter the battlefield effects, right?
Yep.
And the fact that when Riku makes a copy, it's a token. So we included... We both had parallel lives in our deck, and...
Originally,
that card is out of budget now. It's like $8. It was
gone.
I think it was like under $5 at the time.
It was fleeting.
It's gone now for us. We can't have that. But there are so many things you can do when you're copying creatures and making double it. You know, I had some allies in the original build. I remember that tried to take advantage of Riku's ability. This time, though, I went with a tribal deck.
Interesting.
And one that wants to have a lot of that tribe, and that's elves.
I'm listening.
We went with elves. We went teamer elves for this brew. Cool. And like you said, it's trampley in that it's tokeny and trampley in that way, in that it goes wide and everything. But it's got those elf synergies, which can just be so overwhelming and so powerful. And I've never built an elf deck, and I felt like I was like, am I burning a good episode here by doing elves tribal? I don't think so. I think this is fun, and it's actually kind of a bit of a different elf brew because we've got blue and red, which I don't think you'd normally have. You might go green or black with elves normally, but yeah. But Riku's a fun commander to do that with, and let's take a look at it. I mean. Yeah, what are we going to do with these decks?
Okay, so step one for my version of Riku is we want to fill up that graveyard. And this card from Shadows over Innistrad was so good for that. Epiphany at the Drown Yard.
Ah, yes.
You must remember this. Blue and X. Instant. Reveal the top X +1 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. This card is a monster in any deck where you want cards in your graveyard. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cast it for like 5 or 6, and I'm going to copy it with Riku.
Yep.
Right? So I'm going to draw the top 7, and I'm going to see like, oh, there's one like bomby spell here.
Sure.
And like 6 cards I don't care about. So I'm going to make 2 piles. 1 card and 6 cards. What are you going to do? You're going to give me my bomby card and put 6 in my graveyard? I love that. I want those in graveyard. Or you're going to give me those 6 cards. I'm okay with that also.
Yeah.
Then we're going to copy it, so we're going to do it all over again.
It's going to be a win-win either way, right?
Either way.
That's the great thing about this type of card. This Fact or Fiction is another great one.
Yeah.
Sphinx of Uthun is another great card that does it. One of my favorite all-time cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Epiphany at the Drown Yard.
And
so powerful. Was this in your X-Spell build, by the way?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay.
But one thing that I want to do, too, is like I'm also happy to be like, okay, here's 2 piles. All the cards and 0 cards. And they're like, oh.
Well, 0.
0. Great. Now it's on the graveyard. Now I have access to all of it whenever I want. Cool. So let's also talk about Tome Scour.
Oh,
interesting pick, right? You may not expect it.
Very
it's a single blue. Target player puts the top 5 cards of his or her library into her graveyard. If you got Riku out, this becomes 3 mana, you put top 10 cards of your graveyard into the library.
Yeah,
very efficient. Very good.
Interesting.
And then another one that is great for this.
Oh, yeah.
Dreamborn Muse.
This was an all-star of our Mimeoplasm deck.
It was. There are fewer cards better at getting cards in your graveyard. So it's 2 blue for a 2/2 creature spirit. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, yourself included, that player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, where X is the number of cards in his or her hand. Free mill.
Free mill for everyone.
For everyone. That could be a hint. Like, if other people want stuff in the graveyard, you're helping them as well. But, like,
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
I think it's okay, though. I
think
really
it's
do.
okay.
I really do think it's fine. Yeah, I love Dreamborn Muse. You're the person who turned me on to this card, and I put it in every deck that wants to mill either itself or opponents. I think it's
if you want to mill both, ooh-wee.
It's very good. Okay, well, I went with elves, and the reason I went with elves is because I noticed. So actually, my original Riku deck is one that I built in real life, right? I haven't built. We've done 52 episodes, so I obviously haven't built every deck from the show. I've built a few. Riku was one of the ones I was most excited about building, and I played it a couple times, and it never really did exactly what I wanted. I tweaked it a little bit, and I put some more powerful cards in. Even still, it's very dependent on Riku. And when you're commander centric, you really got to have the support there. So I just kind of was like, this time I'll make it a little less commander centric and have Riku as just sort of a bonus if we get him out, but not really relying on him for the. Because with Riku, we were talking to our friend Ben when we played Commander the other night, and it was like he was talking about how with Riku it's like, ooh, I got this great spell. It's like, well, I could cast it now, or I could wait till Riku's out and then get 2 of them. Like, you know, you just get greedy all the time, right?
And then you never cast anything.
So with this deck, it's built to not be super greedy with Riku and just treat him as a bonus. And if you can get him out, you get him out. Great. So we went with elves. So let's talk about some elves. Let's talk about some great elves. Let's talk about Joraga Treespeaker.
Ooh, great elf.
As you know, elves like to come in and tap for green mana. Well, Joraga Treespeaker, once you invest in him a little bit, can create a lot of green mana. He's 1 green for a 1/1, but he's got the level up ability, which is 1 generic and a green. So overall, you pay 3 to get him to level 1, and he's all of a sudden becomes a 1/2, and he can tap for 2 green mana. So that's good. If you level him up to level 5, which is a lot, but let me tell you something, it's not hard to make green mana with this elf deck. It is very easy, and to get it quickly is also quite easy. So Joraga Treespeaker, once you get him up to level 5, elves you control have tap and add 2 green mana. Then you're just like, wow, you're going crazy. All your elves are tapping for that much mana, you can get really nuts. Dirty. So Joraga Treespeaker is a must include, and it's a cheap card. It's great. Another great elf for these colors is Zamek Guildmage.
I forgot he was an elf.
I didn't even know he was an elf until I did the search. He's green and blue. A Simic card, to be sure, from Gatecrash. Elf Wizard. He has 2 abilities. One's pay green and a blue. This turn, each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. That's the money for us right there. That's actually the one we want, which usually it isn't. Usually that's not the highlight of this card. The highlight of this card is usually pay green and a blue, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control, and draw a card, right? In this deck, the first ability is probably the better one, and the second ability is just gravy. It's just also great, though. So it's very easy, like I said, to drop multiple elves in a turn because they all tap for mana for the most part, and being able to say, okay, well now actually they're going to be 2/2s this turn by simply paying a quick green and a blue. You make 2 of this guy. You don't really need to make 2 of this guy because you can stack his abilities, so whatever, it's great. But yeah, Zamek Guildmage is really good in this deck. Next, Sages of the Anima.
I love this guy.
Another Simic card.
Did not realize this was an elf.
Me neither. There actually are quite few, not quite a few, but quite few. They're not that many Simic elves. I pretty much have all of them in here. Sages of the Anima is 3 green blue for an elf wizard. 3/4. It says if you would draw a card, instead reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So once you get up to 5 mana, which is again pretty easy, but that sort of mid to later game, you really just want to be drawing your creatures because the elves don't cost very much, and they themselves, a lot of them produce mana. So at this point, even at turn 5, you just want gas. You just want elves.
Yeah.
You don't really want lands all that badly. So Sages of the Anima is a great card when you're building around a creature tribal deck like this. It's really good.
Yeah, as long as you don't care about any other card type.
Right.
You'll never draw another instant or sorcery. You'll never draw another land.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's if you're looking to overrun and stuff, you might hang on to this guy for a bit. But if you have one in your hand or one or the two abilities that do that, he's great.
Yeah.
Sages of the Anima, an elf. I also like this category because I did manage to include 2 of the blue elves, which again are not too many of them.
Also, I should point out that if there's a Nekisar player at your table, Sages of the Anima protects you from that because you do not draw cards anymore with this card out. Instead, reveal the top 3 cards.
That's right.
So you're not drawing cards. Cool. Okay, cool. Let's go back to spell side of Riku. We got a lot of spells that we've been doubling to get our graveyard nice and fat. Maybe we had a doubled up Dreamborn Muse, so we're putting double upkeep into the graveyard. We got a fat graveyard. How are we going to get stuff back? How about Mystic Retrieval? 3 and a blue, sorcery, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Or for the price of 6, return 2 of them. And then if it's in my graveyard, if I happen to mill it, I can flash it back for 2 and a red, and then double that for another 2 to get 2 instant or sorceries back from my graveyard. The graveyard, like, if I have it in my hand, I'm getting stuff from the graveyard. If it goes to the graveyard, I'm still getting stuff from my graveyard. I can't stress enough. We got to fill up that graveyard so that all of this turns on. That's key.
This is already getting quite reminiscent of your Mizzix deck, actually.
Yeah. It definitely shares a thing. Blue and red are going to want to do that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but for getting spells back, right? This one is a repeat. Riku used this before.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's too good. Volcanic Vision. 5 red, sorcery. It's expensive, but return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Volcanic Vision deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to each creature your opponents control. Exile Volcanic Visions. Wow. That's a lot. Like, you can just pull...
I love this spell, yeah.
So if you've got up to 9 mana, that's a lot. It's pricey. But if you've got 9 and you can copy this, you can pull 2 instants and sorceries back and probably get a full wipe of the board minus your creatures.
Sharding Sphinx would really appreciate this.
Sharding Sphinx loves full wipes.
Loves them.
Loves them.
Needs to have them, really.
Yeah. And then this one, so here we're going to take advantage of green. Mizzix can't use this. All Sun's Dawn. 4 and a green. For each color, return up to 1 target card of that color from your graveyard to your hand. Exile All Sun's Dawn. So you're going to get 3 back from this because we can't have white or black cards in Commander. That's how it works. But we're going to get a blue card, a red card, and a green card. And we're going to double it probably, so we're going to do that twice. We're going to get 6 cards back from the graveyard. This basically becomes, what was that one? Not Cryptolith, right? The one that green mythic from Shadows? That just take back...
Seasons
past.
Of Love. Seasons Past.
Yeah, man. This is just as good, and it's way cheaper.
Yo, I used to have a Seasons Past at Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah.
Seasons Past, though, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Canada's Wonderland is our local theme park.
It's our, like, Six Flags.
Yeah.
If you're in the States.
I believe now it is owned by Six Flags.
Is it? Same company, right? It used to be Paramount.
Company.
So there used to be all this cool movie stuff around it.
Yeah. It used to be independent. It used to be its own thing.
Yeah.
Then Paramount bought it, and it was like... Yeah, it was all Top Gun the Ride. And
yeah, that's right. It's not Top Gun anymore. Now it's
like
Airplane Twister or like Jet Fighter.
Yeah.
And then they used to have the Mirthmobile from Wayne's World there. Remember that?
I do. I forgot. I remember
that was the highlight for me. I always loved going to see the Mirthmobile because I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yep. But anyways, not anymore. Now it's all generic garbage. Okay, so let's take a look at at Riku's elves. So if you notice, those first couple elves I talked about, it's not really important to have Riku. It's not really important to make copies of those guys. Draga Tree Speaker may be the exception there, but here's some elves that like other elves, so they will also like when Riku makes other elves, right?
Other.
So this is kind of the bread and butter of the deck. This is why we're going elves, because elves care about elves. One of the best is Elvish Archdruid. 1 and 2 green for a 2/2 that says other elf creatures you control get +1/+1, and you tap them to add green to your mana pool for each elf you control.
That's too much mana.
That's a lot. That will be a lot. Even very early in the game, this is a lot.
Yeah.
Without Riku. But with Riku, you not only double Anthem your guys, but you have 2 guys that can tap for 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, whatever it is, right?
Shut up.
So that's why this is one of the best creatures in the deck for this deck and for having Riku as your commander. It's so strong.
Too much.
And you know what? The great thing about this is that they printed the hell out of this card, and it's still $250, right? It's been a rare in all the core sets from M10 to M13, and then they reprinted it in Commander 2014. So, man, elves are a popular tribe, no question. Next, again, one of the classics, Imperious Perfect, which I thought for years was Imperious Prefect, and I thought everyone was saying it wrong except me. And I was like, you guys, I never said the same. I was like, you guys are all dumb. Like, it's a prefect. Obviously, like, a prefect is like a person, right? Like a guy, like in Harry Potter, they're prefects. Or like maybe at your school you had prefects. Why is it perfect? I still don't even get it.
And usually when everyone else is doing something wrong but you, usually it is you who has the wrong one.
And I was wrong. But why is it Imperious Perfect?
I don't
get
know.
it. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I know what those words mean, but I don't,
Yeah.
I guess she's a perfect Imperious. In a culture of beauty, the most beautiful are worshipped as gods. Okay, anyways. Imperious Perfect is 2 and a green for a 2/2 elf warrior that says other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. So good. And pay green, tap, put a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token onto the battlefield. What?
That's great.
That's great.
That's great.
This card was printed at Uncommon for years.
Yeah.
In Lorwyn, in Commander. Well, I guess this is not really printed in like a limited format, but it was an Uncommon originally, and then finally Eternal Masters was like, actually, if this is going to be in a draft, environment, this needs to be rare, and it does. It's that good. It's so great. Pumps your elf creatures while making elf creatures. So actually, this doesn't put out 1/1s. It puts out 2/2s.
Oh yeah, because it's giving them 1/1 automatically.
Exactly. So as long as you have her out. She'll make the elves that are 2/2s. Obviously, this is so good. And she becomes... Oh, no, she doesn't become a 3/3, though. She's still a 2/2 because it says other elf creatures. That's one thing that most of the elf lords have in common is they only do it to others. Finally here, we're talking about elves that love other elves, and we want more of them. Immaculate Magistrate is 3 and a green for a 2/2 elf shaman. It says tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature for each elf you control.
This one is the ugliest one.
Yeah.
Not in looks, but because at instant speed, like whatever is not blocked, you'd be like, yeah, I'm going to put on 100 tokens.
Yeah.
100 +1/+1 counters.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And if you make a copy of, like, Immaculate Magistrate is one of the best ones to make a copy of too, because then you just have two ways to tap,
spread it around,
add all those counters,
put it all on one.
It's so good.
Get out of here.
Immaculate Magistrate, one of the key ones. There's also one that pumps just for +X till end of turn, which is honestly almost as good, really, because when you swing in, you just want to get that one, like Sean was saying, where you pump them so huge. But obviously with Magistrate, the counters stick around, so it's very, very good.
Ugh. Great. Yeah, cool. So we got Riku with spells. We got the graveyard super full. We've got a million ways to get stuff back from the graveyard if it's already in the graveyard, or if we draw it, we're going to make this happen. So how do we win? What's our win conditions? One of them, Inkwell Leviathan. Classic creature, right? 7 blue for a trample island walk. It's a 7-11 grocery store artifact creature. It has Shroud and Island Walk. Shroud and Island Walk, that's the key, right? So, like, there's a lot of ways to bring cards back from the graveyard. So if this is in your graveyard, I'm bringing it back, I'm casting it, and I will eventually beat people to death with it, right? It's a good blocker. This is a possible win condition. Another win condition we're going to play with is called Call the Skybreaker. It's 5 is it? So 5 blue, 5 red, or 5 blue red. Hybrid. Sorcery. Put a 5/5 blue and red elemental creature token with flying on the battlefield, and it has Retrace. So you may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a land card in addition to paying its other costs.
Yep.
And with Riku, we're going to be doubling this every time as well. So we're just going to keep churning out 5/5 flying elementals.
For 9. Get 2 for 9.
2 for 9. So
that's
like
10 power toughness for 9.
Yeah,
that's quite good.
It's
flying.
We're gonna roll over the board, and these are just tokens. So if you wipe the board, it's in our graveyard. We're gonna keep retracing it, right? We're just going to keep going. Maybe we milled it early. No problem. That's the point.
Got to have that graveyard exile, man, for this type of stuff.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
wow.
And then finally, Spinning Image.
Another great one.
Such a great card. 4 Simic. So 4 in red and 4 blue-green hybrid. Twice. So 6 total.
Yeah.
Put a token into play that is a copy of target creature. Great. Does someone have a crazy monster on the board, like a Grave Titan or an Inferno Titan? Cool, now we have one.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 because we're playing Riku. We're going to double it, right? Maybe I'm taking 2 different creatures. Cool ETB ability? Cool, I want it, right?
Yeah.
And the best part is we get double of your opponent's ETB abilities. If we double this, we get 2 tokens, and we'll all steal. What do you have that? It came up the other night. Molten Primordial, the one that threatens one from every opponent. What if I double Retrace on this?
Oh.
Cool.
Take 2
from everyone. There you go. It's basically Insurrection.
Yep. What do you think's better? Do you think the Call of the Sky dude is Call the Skybreaker for the guaranteed 5/5 with flying for 9 copied?
Yeah.
Or Spitting Image, the possible higher ceiling, lower floor, but it's only 8.
I think
in EDH, what do you think's better?
I think they're both. I can't say that because it depends what's going on in the game.
Of course, yeah,
right.
You're right.
Right. I think.
But isn't that an argument for Spitting Image because it sort of it scales with the game. It scales with what's happening.
So if the game's rolling, stuff's happening, we're gonna go Spitting Image because we're gonna take the best thing on the board, which is probably better than a 5/5 vanilla flyer. But
which is quite good still in EDH. I've always said that.
Quite good.
5/5 flyers in Commander are still very good.
But what's going to happen is people are going to get scared of the board and they're going to clear the board. Once that happens, then we got to shift gears. Then we want to call the Skybreakers because we got nothing to Spitting Image at that point, right? So so it depends on what. They're both crucial at different stages. I want to start with Spitting Image and just put serious pressure on. And then when my opponents get scared and do something to me, I'll be like, oh, cool, I'm just going to switch to Skybreakers now.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, you got both, so you're laughing either way, really.
Yeah. Both with Retrace, I might add.
Both with Retrace.
So I can keep casting them.
Spitting Image is only $1.50, and it's only been printed once at Rare.
Yeah, man, grab that card.
I guess because it's 2 colors, it's not as,
But in Commander, isn't this the kind of thing that Commander players scoop up?
It should be. This card's insane.
This card is insane.
Always has been. Always has been. Anyways.
Whenever you resolve this card, you're like, oh my God, I hate this.
Yeah.
Because you're going...
Well, you don't say you hate this.
No,
you love it.
Yeah.
Your opponents are saying that.
Because right, if I clone your best thing, cool, you can deal with it. But if I Spitting Image your best thing, I'm going to do it again next turn.
Yeah.
And the turn after that.
Every time you
and
draw
the turn after that, right?
Yep. Oh, man. Oh, it's just too bad you can't have this in like a Gitrog monster deck. Can you imagine? Any Retrace in that deck is insane. Anyways, okay, so let's kick it back over to the elves.
Kicking it back to the elves.
So this category I just have as like other things to do because I wanted to name so many different things, but they all kind of do different stuff. So we just have just a general other
This
thing.
category is miscellaneous.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of my only, I think, repeats. I'm pretty sure I had this in my original deck. And
we had this card originally? I thought this was pre-Origins.
You're right. But I did end up putting it in my real deck. That's why I thought that.
Yeah.
But this is a Riku must-have. Absolute must-have. From this side of deck. Actually, it's probably not that good for the spells deck because you're not making non-token creatures.
I'm making very few non-tokens.
I'm making a lot of non-token creatures. It's great. Flame Shadow Conjuring is 3 and a red for an enchantment that says whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay red. If you do, put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Well, here's what happens with the elves. You make a token copy of whatever elf you want. If it has some ability, great. If it doesn't, it just still adds to the number of elves. And basically, you just want the mass, right? You just want as many elves as you can have at one point. So whether this is you make a copy of the Immaculate Magistrate, it can still tap that turn because it has haste. A lot of them have tap abilities. If it's just another way to tap and maybe get 2 mana or 1 mana, whatever, Flame Shadow Conjuring is just that much more helpful. Again, You just want as many elves as you can have, and that allows for it to happen.
Great.
Not to mention the bigger things that you can just hit and swing with. It's such a good card. And if you got ETB abilities, you just get those. It's really quite insane.
The card is insane.
The card is insane. After that, went a different direction. This is a card that I've been looking to include in Commander decks for a long time. And it's difficult because it's not all that good, I don't think. Tower of Fortunes. It's 4 generic for a artifact that has the ability of pay 8, tap, draw 4 cards. I've had this in decks where you ramp up hard and it's a big mana deck, but I still find myself not using this card. And I don't know why, really, because it's good to draw 4 cards, but it's not really good to... I think it's because you leave the mana open, but in those types of decks you don't. You want to spend them because it's a lot of sorcery speed stuff, because it's a lot of green stuff. Yeah. Well, here you can just tap your elves at end of turn if you're not ready to attack with them. If this isn't the turn you're going to attack, and you might have 5 elves that tap for mana, well, just tap those guys. Leave those guys up as blockers, but and then the end step comes in your opponent's turn. Now you can tap them plus the 3 lands you have kicking around and draw 4 cards. I think it's going to be easier to use this card in this deck, and we can't rely on a lot of on some of the other good ways for green to draw cards, which can be based on the power of a creature. So like Garrick's Pack Leader can't be in this deck because the elves are so small.
Yeah.
So Tower of Fortunes, I think we can use it here. I think we can. It's definitely an experiment for me because I'm trying to make this card work.
Well, okay, here's what I'm thinking about when I read this card. I run Opportunity and sometimes Dragon Lord's Prerogative in a lot of decks. That's a 6 mana instant draw 4 cards.
Yeah.
This is only 2 more
and you can
to activate it.
Yeah.
Right? And I find myself, there's a lot of decks I have where I end up jamming in Opportunity because it's like, I end up holding up a lot of mana. I want to do something with it, so I want to put in big draw spells. This is even better. Right? I mean,
you do need to hit 8.
But it's only
which
2
is
more
a little,
than 6.
I agree, but then it's your whole turn, and like I know exactly what you're thinking. I've had the exact same thought process.
Yeah,
and I put this in decks, and you're just like 8 though, and then you're like, okay, well, I guess I get it, because you can play on turn 4 no problem, run it out. No one's gonna blow this thing up because everyone's like, yeah, right, 8, go for it,
for it.
Spend your whole turn. Who cares?
Yeah.
But
maybe it's psychological. Maybe we will hold up 6 for Opportunity and be like, I get to use this once. This will be the turn.
Right.
But if you know it's sitting there, you can use it whenever you want. It never goes away. Maybe you're less likely to use it. You're just like, it'll always be there. I'm not going to use it this turn. I'm going to do other things.
Yeah, you're right. I don't put Opportunity in my decks very often because usually it's just a one-shot thing.
I think it's a great shot.
It's a decent shot. You get 4 cards.
I love
you can't argue
4
with
cards.
that.
I love it. I love resolving Opportunity.
And it's definitely good in the decks where you're leaving a lot of mana open, like you're talking about.
That's the thing. If you've got a deck that leaves a lot of... I think your Ifara deck could use this. Because you leave up a lot of mana.
Yeah, and 8 though. 8 is too much for that deck even. Because usually you want to do one thing on your turn and then leave up about 4 to 6 mana.
For your counterspells.
Very rarely do I want to leave up the full 8. Because then...
But what... We're deep.
Because then if you
we're
counter
going the rabbit hole
something...
here.
Yeah, we are.
If you could... But what if you had 10 mana? Leave it all up.
Great.
Pass the turn.
Now it's fine.
Pass the turn. Don't do anything.
But then you have to decide, okay, am I going to counter something this turn?
Yeah, you're absolutely going to counter something.
Well, then you're not drawing 4 cards.
No, you're not drawing 4 cards, but you needed to counter that thing.
Great. Next turn. Let's wait again.
Cool, so let's wait again.
Oh, did you need to counter something? Yes, I did.
Okay,
not drawing 4 cards.
Let's go
again.
one more turn. You're out of counter spells. You're out of
Okay.
counter spells.
No, I'm out of counter spells.
If you're countering every turn with Ifara.
Sure, exactly.
Right?
If my control deck is that good that I can do that, great. But
let's say you're out of counter spells. You're
but
like,
now
cool,
let's say I have no
around.
creatures and now people are going to attack me. Well, I got to play my creature. I got to play a creature to block at least, right? I got to play 1 creature. Okay, I'm at 10 mana.
Know.
I'll play 1 creature. He costs 4. Not drawing 4 cards that turn either. This is what I mean. I know exactly what you're saying. And it's not even yet. We're not even trying to think of an ideal situation with this. We're just trying to think of a good one. And it doesn't play out. I'm telling you, it doesn't play out the way you think it will.
Okay.
I've tried it. I've had it in decks. I've had it in my hand.
Yeah.
I've had it on the table.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever used it.
Okay.
But I think this Elves deck again is a rare exception because of the nature of the creatures having the mana on them, and You're not going to be swinging in until the time is right. So you really are leaving up a lot of mana with the.
I can deal.
Elves. So maybe I might be wrong though. It might be garbage.
Oh, I want this card to be good.
Me too. I really do. Okay, and to round this category out, we've got not an elf, which is why it took me a while to find this card because it's not an elf because I originally limited my searches to just elf creature types. But it's a must-have in an elf deck. Sky Shroud Poacher. It's a human rebel. If you've built elf decks out there, or if you play elves in Modern or something, maybe you know these cards all by now. But as an EDH player who has never built an elf deck before, a lot of these were new to me. So this is a cool card. Sky Shroud Poacher is from Nemesis. 2 and 2 green for a 2/2. It's a human rebel, and it says pay 3 and tap it. Search your library for an elf permanent card and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. So great. You get Sages of the Anima for 3 mana, tutored right to the battlefield. You get any.
Wow.
Now, for the most part, because elves are so cheap, you are paying a little bit of a premium. But to get them from your library, please, that's insane.
And if you've got Flame Shadow Conjuring out, you can just pop a second copy right away.
Yeah.
Use the second copy, get all that extra mana.
Yep.
You're ahead of the mana game.
Absolutely. Sky Shroud Poacher, gotta have it in any elf deck, and yeah, exactly. Bit of a no-brainer when you're building elves.
Yeah.
Although it's a human rebel, so you might not find it
because he kidnaps the elf.
Sky Shroud Poacher, I guess. Yeah, that's what he's doing, right?
Kidnapping elves.
Is that what he's doing in the art there?
Yeah. He kidnapped that elf.
Oh.
So that you get to get him.
Cool.
And then I guess the humans. No, they're still around as a 2/2, but I guess they let the elf go. Once he kidnaps him on your behalf, they
get Stockholm Syndrome and they work for you.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
This card should be called Sky Shroud Poacher and Stockholm Syndrome.
That's a cool name for a card. There should be a card called Stockholm Syndrome.
Too real world though, right?
I don't know.
Well, because Stockholm is named after the city in Sweden.
Yeah, but it's also a syndrome. They could have syndromes elsewhere that aren't named after cities.
But they got Stockholm in.
No, maybe it's just named that. Okay, well you call it something else. You call it Hanweir syndrome.
Oh, okay, that makes sense to me. That's good. The flavor text on this card is, it's okay, they're just elves.
Ooh.
You're allowed to kidnap them, it's okay.
They're just elves.
Oof, rough.
Humans are racist.
He's a rebel.
Yeah, he is a rebel.
Yeah, he's classic, he's like a reb. Civil War style, that kind of rebel. Yeah.
So that's the gist of the decks.
That's the gist.
That's simple
stuff.
How we're going to get things rolling. That's how we're going to win. 2 more Riku edits. So let's go to the 3 stars then. Let's go to the decks, the 3 best cards, the cards that kind of function the highest in these decks.
Yes.
I'll go first. Number 3, Volcanic Vision. We talked about this. It's a board wipe, sort of. It's a one-sided board wipe. It can be, but if our graveyard is full enough, it would be very easy to find something that's 5 or 6 mana in cost. So we will very likely get most of the board.
Definitely an overlooked. You don't think of this when you think of board wipes. I don't know. I don't anyways, but it's definitely good if you're running those big spells.
Huge. It gets a creature back. That's what we want. We want to get spells back. Cool. Number 2, Jace's Sanctum. This is an enchantment. This costs 3 and a blue. It says instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 generic less to cast. That's great. Since we're going to be copying things, we want that extra mana. So it's almost as if copying now only costs 1.
Yeah.
Once this is out there. Also, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, scry 1. That just helps a ton.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Find your gas.
Find your gas. Scrying is great in Commander. And I think the best star of the deck, we talked about it before, Spitting Image.
Ooh.
Right? Because it can be everything.
So then this probably is better than the other one.
It's better than the other one until they wrath the board.
Right.
Once they wrath the board.
So in that situation, this one's better. But in most other situations, Spitting Image is probably the best.
If I have to only have one in the deck.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a better way to think about it. It's Spitting Image.
Okay, great.
Because if they do wipe the board, cool, I just don't cast it for a while.
Sure.
I sandbag lands. So then when something awesome does show up, now I start retracing it.
Yeah. Now you get a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So 3 stars of Riku's Elves. Again, we got to do some fun stuff with this because of these different colors. Number 3 is Edric, Spymaster of Trest.
He's an elf too.
He's an elf rogue.
I don't read creature type lines unless I'm doing a tribal deck.
The crazy thing about these 3 that I've chosen is they could all actually be the number 1 star.
Yeah.
They really could. This was easy to choose these 3. It was hard to put them in what order. That was the part. Yeah. So really, these are kind of interchangeable as far as their places on it go. But Edric Spymaster of Trust, you know this one. 1 green and a blue. It's an elf rogue legendary 2/2 that says whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may draw a card. So we got a lot of these little 1/1 dudes running around. We're going to be making a lot of copies of them with Riku. Send in the tokens, man. Send in the tokens. Let them fight. If you have to trade off a few to draw a few cards, well worth it. And maybe there's somebody who tapped out or something, and then you can draw a bunch of cards off of them.
Well,
you'll always be able to draw some cards off of Edric, no matter what's happening. And it also is a deterrent. People will now attack your opponents because they want to draw cards. That's the great thing about them.
I'm not at liberty to reveal my sources, but I can assure you the price on your head is high.
Yeah, there we go.
Flavor text.
That's what it says, yeah. And, reprinting Conspiracy, so it's dropped in price. Still down to under $1.50. Great.
Gumball and a couple.
Gumball and a few. Number 2 star. Already mentioned him. Elvish Archdruid. Pumps your elves. Makes mana based on the elves. You can't ask for more. It's just one of the best. It really is. It really is nuts.
One guy that taps for like 8 mana. That's insane.
There's a creature in the deck that just pumps elves and gives them force walk. Actually, I had to cut it because of budget reasons, but that creature is also one of the best in the deck. There's also another creature that just taps to add green to your mana pool for each elf you control. Also easily one of the best cards in the deck. Put them both on the same card. Yeah. That's one of the 3 stars.
Yeah.
And number 1 star I found is Zuri, Renegade Leader. Man, this guy was a lot cheaper right after Commander 2014 came out, but he's crawled back up. Just around $5, but
he's so good.
He's so good. He's 1 and 2 green for a 2/2 legendary elf warrior. Has 1 green, regenerate another target elf, which is just great because a bunch of the elves just tap and regenerate themselves.
Oh yeah, because they make mana. Yeah.
Or they'll tap to regenerate a more important elf.
Yeah. Or Elvish Archdruid taps and regenerates everybody.
Them all. Yeah, exactly. And then he has the amazing ability of pay 2 and 3 green. Elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. He has overrun right on him for your tribal elf deck.
Overrun for elves, yeah.
Overrun for elves only. And don't forget, you can do that twice. You can stack. You can actually cast 2 overruns and make it +6/+6 and trample.
Because you probably have enough mana.
You probably do, especially if you have an Elvish Archdruid or one of the other guys that does what
you leave does. That one guy out of combat to give everyone an extra 3/3.
It's bonkers. I remember when Tiny Leaders was a format, I took the Commander 2014 deck that Azuri was in and just was like, oh, this is basically a Tiny Leaders deck. And then it was, and I think if you ask people who play Tiny Leaders, Azuri is one of the most powerful Tiny Leaders decks, and the fact that it scales and is actually just as good in Commander I think says a lot about how powerful the card is. Zuri Renegade Leader must have worked hard to keep him in the deck too, because some of these elves are getting a little expensive because there are some other formats that play elves. So
wow,
those are the best ones though.
Great. Any discoveries in the decks?
Yeah, did you find something?
This is not a new discovery, but I haven't talked about this in a long time, so I'm going to revisit this for our anniversary show. This might be one of my favorite discoveries. I love this card. It's 36 cents. It's barely more than a gumball. Far Wanderings, 2 and a green, sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card, put that card on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. That's too much. We can do that for 2.
Yeah, you can do that for 2 easily, yeah. Or pay 3 and also get 1 to your hand.
Yeah, cultivate. But this has threshold. If 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, that is easy in this deck.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, search your library for up to 3 basic land cards. Put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. We had a card in Shadows that costs 6 mana that lets us search up 3 lands and put them into play.
Yeah.
We get to search for 3 mana, pay a red and a blue. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to get 6 lands for 5 mana.
Yeah.
That's 1 cheaper than the one that costs 6. I'm not getting the life that the other one gives you, granted. But
sure.
But who cares?
Who cares? That's very good.
6 basics? Yes, please.
Yes. Wow. 6 for 5.
For 5, but even if this isn't the discoveries, because even if you don't have Riku, you're not copying spells. If you want your graveyard full, getting 7 in the graveyard is very easy.
Yeah.
Remember this card. Cultivate is over $1. Kodama's Reach is over $1. Explosive Vegetation over $1. Those guys only get 2 cards and not to the battlefield.
They don't put them on the battlefield.
So
Vegetation does.
Vegetation does. So grab this one for a bit above a gumball. Put 3 into the battlefield.
Got to have a graveyard deck for it, and don't count on casting it on turn 3. That's the only.
No, that's the only thing. Yeah. It's not one of those like early ramps, but man,
it's gonna be very difficult. Like even if you get Tome Scour turn 1, you're not really doing this on turn 3 either.
True, but I'm casting other instances.
Although I guess Tome Scour itself goes in your graveyard. So actually, you're only 1 away if you get a turn 1 away.
Tome Terramorphic Expanse.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
Yeah, you can probably do this on turn 3.
Yeah,
if you get Tome Scour in your hand.
Yeah, man.
But I think that's great for those types of decks, man. Threshold, great.
Don't forget about it if you like the graveyard.
I got 2 on here that, again, I've never built an Elves deck before, so these are all kind of discoveries. I guess they're more surprises for me because I just didn't know that there were cards that did this. One of them is Elvish Guidance, and it's a 2 and a green for an enchantment, and it enchants a land, and it says whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds green to her mana pool for each elf on the battlefield. The battlefield. That's also your opponent's elf, so that's nice.
Oh.
And it's in addition to the mana the land produces. So you tap it for green or whatever if you put on a forest, and then it makes that much more. It doesn't replace that ability, actually. So that's pretty cool. So you get as many elves around the battlefield plus 1.
Holy crow.
Yeah, this thing can make a lot of mana very easily.
Yeah.
So that's a neat card. And second neat. This was interesting. I don't know how good this card is. I think it's pretty good. It's 3 and 2 green for a sorcery called Predatory Focus. And it says you may have creatures you control deal their combat damage to defending player this turn as though they weren't blocked.
Yeah.
So, obviously the downside of this card is it lets people react to it because it is sorcery speed.
Yes.
And they can either instant speed board wipe, which is probably unlikely. It's just there's not that many things that do that. But an Aetherize or something will stop stuff like this. There's a lot of things, right? So it's not great, but it's just kind of like, oh, actually, there's some cases where this is maybe better than what you've got going on, maybe better than Overrun. I don't know if it is ever that, but Overrun's sorcery 2, right?
Yeah, Overrun's sorcery 2. So you run into that thing where it's like you cast this, and then the blue player is like, okay, I could counter this, but like, who are you going to attack?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Who are you going to attack?
And then you go, okay, well, not you. I'll attack this guy over here, the red and black player.
Yeah.
And then he goes, okay, great. And then you go, aha, double cross. That's a knife in your back.
That sounded amazing.
Pull that back. You pull that knife out.
Yeah, but don't do that though.
Don't do that. Well,
don't double cross because, as we know, as you may have experienced, those double crosses will affect you in later games.
That's true. Yeah, and you can expect to be double crossed back, and then as long as you don't hold grudges too long, maybe you can be like, okay, I double crossed you, but then you double crossed me, so we're even now. Now we can go back to trusting each other. Maybe, right?
Unless you are like me.
I think you're still going to...
And you will hold a grudge forever.
But also, like, if this is going to make you do it. You have to do it. And then I don't think people can blame you too much for double crossing. It's
a double cross to win seems fair.
Double crossing to win seems fair. Double crossing just to screw someone over is, you're gonna catch some flack for that.
Right. The worst part is when you double cross a guy and then kill that guy, and everyone else is still playing, and you're like, all you've done is killed me for your double cross.
To kill. Yeah, that's pretty rough too. Actually,
it's like, if you attack him with all your guys, I'll attack him with all my guys, and we're gonna finish him off because he's the villain. Yeah. And then you're like, you have no blockers. I'll attack you with everybody, and then you're dead.
I think you've done that to me before.
I've done some things, but I haven't done anything that bad.
I think you might have done that to me once.
Really?
You didn't win the game because of it. You just knocked, but you knocked more than one person out. You knocked me and someone else out, I think. So I think that's a little bit more fair. Although I was pretty cheesed at the time because he for sure double crossed me.
No doubt.
But Predatory Focus is cool. If you're running an infect deck, this is probably pretty good.
Woof.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Just an interesting little card. Okay, that is surprises, discoveries. Those are the decks.
Let's talk about Wizard Tower.
Talk about Wizard Tower real quick.
Thanks for being with us.
Of course.
1 year deep. Looking for another year of partnership.
Obviously we want to stay with Dave and Jillian over there at Wizards Tower. We want to I'll, of course, talk about the fact that they have a U.S. store now also.
Yeah.
I've mentioned that for the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, if you're in the States, you can order from them. Same thing from Canada.
Yeah, just be sure, because we've had some hiccups recently with the Canada Post. Just be sure to double check.
Yeah, double check what their options are.
Double check the shipping options. They still got good shipping options anyway, right?
Also, Tower of Brews will always get you 5% off and order $15 or more, U.S. or Canada, no matter where you are.
Tower of Brews.
Tower of Brews, wizardtower.com. If you're in the Ottawa area, go check them out also and play some Magic live at their store.
Yeah.
Great. All right, let's get back to the budget report. That's a special 1 year.
Oh yeah, right. This is the part of the show where we take all the cards, we put them in a birthday cake.
I knew it. I was going to say you bake them in a cake.
Bake them in a birthday cake. We light the candles on fire.
Yeah, we light the candles on fire.
We make a wish.
Yeah.
We blow out the candles. Slice up the cake.
Slice it up. Yeah,
right?
We're on the same page on this one, I think.
Birthday boy gets first slice.
Yeah.
And whichever card is in your slice is the one that makes it.
That's the ones that are the best. Yeah. Okay, I love it. Those are the ones that make it are the most
valuable.
The most valuable.
Right.
Okay. I feel like we've been doing this for a year now, and I got to say, I think about this almost every episode. But it seems like, and there's even one episode where I got confused about it, but it seems like we take all these cards, we put them in, and we find which ones rise at the top, which ones are the best ones. Yeah. It seems like that should be the preamble to the 3 stars of the deck.
Oh.
Right? Because we take all the cards, we throw them in a pile, and the ones that are the best rise to the top. That should be the 3 stars thing. Whereas like the budget report, it's like, here we do it, we throw them in a pile, and the most expensive ones, like I don't get what's happening there.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Did we? I feel like we even started off doing it to the 3 stars, but maybe I'm wrong.
After 1 year, perhaps it is a time for a switch.
Maybe it is.
Perhaps we are no longer throwing cards on the budget report into an inferno.
Yeah.
Perhaps we're no longer
taping them to our bumpers. I believe was one.
Yes. Perhaps we're not feeding them to monsters and seeing what comes out the back.
Yeah, we're not dipping them in molten metal.
Yeah, maybe you're right. We should do that for the 3 stars of the deck. That's the new thing. Except for any episodes we may have pre-recorded that have not come out yet. Those ones will not do that.
Yeah. There's a grace period that we need to adjust.
Yeah. We need to adjust.
We need to grandfather this in.
Can we still do the beeps?
Yeah, it's the beeps always. I mean, that's the ticker. That's the live budget report that comes along.
Okay. Can we solve gumballs?
Oh, of course. We can solve
good.
gumballs.
Then I'm happy. That's all I need. So, new Riku costs $48.90. That includes Riku. I got him down cheap.
Nice. Wow, that's very good.
FYI, if you look at the old deck I brewed, the spells version, old Riku, 1 year later, $65.25. You would have earned $15 on your investment in 1 year of $50. That's a pretty good ROI.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So right now, third most expensive card is, we'll start with the top, right? Den Protector. Den Protector is the most expensive card. It's finally come down. It's within our budget. It's still kind of pricey for our budget, but at least it's more reasonable. $3.
Because it's about to rotate, right?
I think it has rotated.
Oh, it has rotated.
I think Dragons is out, but Fate is in.
Dragons is out when Moon is in. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So Den Protector, 1 and a green for a 2/1.
Oh, see, so maybe the price has even changed. But anyways, carry on.
Right. It's got Megamorph, 1 and a green. So when it is turned face up, you can return target card from your graveyard to your hand. That's what we're doing. We're all about returning cards from our graveyard to our hand and then casting them and getting wicked stuff out of them.
Bit of a cheaper Eternal Witness.
Eternal Witness is like $8.
Yeah.
$7 or $8.
Six.
It's too much. Yeah. Eternal Witness is too much money. Den Protector is a great substitute for it. Way cheaper. Cool. Next most expensive card, Sol Ring. Why does Sol Ring come in so expensive? I don't know, but it's like...
It always is.
It always is. I hate putting it on the list, but there it is. It's $250. That's 10 gumballs.
Well, it's also weird because there's so many versions of it that when we do the budget report, like the site we use sometimes quotes the average or like the highest price of it. Because like right now, like you can get a commander for less than what it costs to get a this guy, Den Protector, right?
You can get a Sol Ring for less than a Den Protector?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And that's what, I went from most expensive to least expensive. I'm going in that order.
Oh, you did? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no problem. And then the third most expensive card is Illusionist Bracers.
Right.
Not quite $2. 2 mana artifact equipment. It equips for 3, and whenever an ability of the equipped creature is activated, Riku's 2 abilities are activated abilities.
No, they're not.
Aren't they?
Nope.
Did I do this last time too?
I don't know if you did it last time too, but you definitely did it this time. They're triggered abilities based on casting the spell or the creature entering the battlefield.
That's
so actually,
right.
Illusionist Bracers is stone useless with Riku.
Okay.
What you want is a Strionic Resonator.
Strionic Resonator.
So let's do that instead.
Wow. Can't believe I did that.
Yeah, there you go.
It's hard to remember the difference. I mean, you got to rush for the colon. If there's a colon, when, whenever, or at.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a 2 mana artifact. Oh, and it's actually more expensive than Sol Ring. So this
okay, so
this
will come up in second place then.
Appropriate place in the show. $250. So it's for a 2 mana artifact and for 2 and tap, copy target triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So when you cast a spell, Riku triggers. So you're going to pay 2 red and a blue to copy it, and you're going to trigger the Strionic Resonator to copy it again for an additional 2. This adds 4 to the cost of your spell. Mm-hmm. But as I said, if you have it out and you're like, oh, good, I'm going to do my Far Wanderings, no problem. Or maybe Tome Scour, one of those like early little spells, I'll happily triple it up for, 6, 7 mana?
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, you're able to pay the 2 again.
Yeah.
Which is, Strionic Resonator is a great card. You got to trigger to build. It's the same thing as the one you just you accidentally included. Illusionist Bracers. That card is fully worth it if your commander has an activated ability on it. I even honestly believe even if it's the only activated ability in your whole deck on a creature,
because you have access to it.
As long as it's on your commander, you have access to it all the time. I think it's always got synergy with a card in your hand, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, quote your hand. And Strionic Resonator, I do feel the same way. If your commander has a triggered ability, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so my deck this time just under the $50 mark at $49.94.
Oh my gosh!
And that's not including Riku though.
Okay.
Like I said, elves are in a couple other formats. So a lot of those, it's like there's no elf over $5. I think Azuri's the most expensive. Spoiler. But a lot of them cost between $2 to $3.
That adds up.
So so you got that going for you, which is not good. But yeah, if you have your Riku already, then yeah, you can get this down to under 50. But my original deck price has gone up quite a bit,
$105.15.
So what caused mine to go up so much more than yours? Do you think?
I looked it up. Things like Insurrection.
Oh, have
things
gone up
like
a bit?
Cyclonic Rift. Yeah, it just.
Right, we had Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah, Cyclonic Rift used to be in the realm of our budget, barely.
No, wow.
Barely. It was like on the
didn't even
border.
really realize that.
Yeah, so look up our folders. I meant to write it down. I looked up on our deck pricer website that we go to, and those are expensive ones.
I know for sure that we already mentioned it briefly, but Parallel Lives has gone up quite a bit.
My deck also had that in there. So Andy's deck doubled in price. If you bought this deck when we originally brewed it, it would be worth double.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty.
Oh, if you click this, it'll probably give you the breakdown of all. Like it'll put them in the shopping cart, and we can just check out the shopping cart.
Mass entry.
Yeah. Let's just add them to the cart and then just see what some of the big hitters are. So what we're doing now is we're just checking it out on a random site.
This might take too long. So we can, you know what? Instead of waiting around for this, because this is going to take a while, because it's TCG Player. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. There's a couple cards in here that went up like crazy. I mean, I did have some. Parallel Lives for sure. It's at $7.50 now, and I think at the time it was under $5.
Yeah.
Blasphemous Act I know is almost three. It's about $3 now, and I feel like that was definitely less than $2 when we did this. Cultivate and Kadama's Reach have each kind of bumped up a bit.
Insurrection above $5.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So there's just a couple that have. I guess it's just sort of small increment. Oh, I guess I had Relic of Progenitus in here.
And that even went down.
That even went down in price again.
Because of EMA.
Yeah, that was Stranic Resonators $2.50.
It's got to be up in your creature section, right?
Must be, right? Thrag Tusk is climbing back up. We mentioned that a few episodes ago. But at the time, I think was like around $1. Now it's, or no, more than $1, probably like $2, but now it's almost $5 again. Yeah.
Where's the value?
Oh yeah, Harabaz Druid went up. That happened right after we did the episode, I think.
Yeah.
But that's up to a $5 card, which it was definitely about $1. Man,
Eternal Witness.
I got Eternal Witness in there.
So Eternal Witness is under $5.
Fierce Empath is a $2.25 card. Really?
It's just so good.
I did not know that. Yeah. So Avenger Zendikar sort of retained its value. Anyways, those cards, they all jumped. And I guess overall the deck doubled in price, which is great. But for this deck, number one most expensive card in the deck is Azuri. Like I said, it's almost $5, about $4.50 right now. Absolute staple, absolute must-have. You gotta have him. He's just one of the best. He is the best card in the deck, probably. Second is Draga Warcaller. Again, he's one of this sort of stable of elves that are around the $2 to $3 mark, but are so good and are the reason to go elves, right?
Yeah.
Like between Azuri, between Draga Warcaller, and a couple others, these are the guys you're playing elves for, so you kind of have to have them. Draga Warcaller is 1 green for a 1/1 with multi-kicker, 1 and a green. And he enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on him for each time it was kicked. And other elf creatures you control get +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Draga Warcaller. It's crazy, right?
No.
And you can multi-kick them with all your elves, and
get out of here.
They get huge.
Get out of here.
If you have Immaculate Magistrate at the same time, guess what? All your elves get plus whatever.
Get out of
however
here.
many the number of elves you are.
Stop it.
Spoiler alert, Immaculate Magistrate is the third most expensive card in the deck.
Still under $250.
Still under $250. We said it before, it's the 3 and a green 2/2 tap, add that many counters from many elves you have. So
like
great synergies here, right? Elves have a lot of synergies together. That's why they're so good.
Wipe your board. Wipe that board.
Wipe my board, and I'm not happy.
Well, let's hopefully you don't have Azura, so you can just regenerate everything.
Exactly, and then right? But if they Wrath of God, you're in real trouble. That's one thing. It's definitely one weakness to the deck is you got to have some sort of protection. But guess what? We get access to blue.
Yeah.
With Riku, you get access to counter spells.
Counterspells.
I've included a few in the deck. Didn't talk about that, but that's one of the angles that's why Riku's a great elf commander. Not only the doubling, but you get access to blue, you get access to red. You can burn people out with your tapping and making big mana. You can counterspell and save yourself. Yeah. It's great.
Well, guys, it has been a slice.
It has been a complete slice, a thick slice with lots of icing.
Extra sauce. Oh, you're talking pizza or
I was thinking cake because it's the birthday. It's the anniversary.
Yeah, that makes
episode.
more sense.
But I'm thinking pizza. I'm thinking whatever you can slice. Thick slice of ham.
Oh, a nice piece of pineapple.
Yeah, sure.
Juicy piece of pineapple.
It's all of these things.
Oh, yeah.
The first year has been several slices.
It's been a blast. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I guess let's carry on.
Yeah, all right. Sure. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. Check us out. All our year's worth of decks is on tappedout.net/users/commandersbrew. As always, email us, commandersbrew@gmail.com. Now we got a Patreon if you feel like supporting that way. Now we do stuff on Twitch once a month, plus unplanned randomly, Andy and I will just stream Magic stuff, like maybe Sealed League or something.
Draft
Who knows?
or Sealed or whatever, yeah.
Whatever. Man, couldn't have done without you guys. So here's to you. Imagine it's going beep, beep, beep.
And of course, we've had since episode 8, we've had commander interviews.
Yeah, we didn't have the cred to get commanders to interview.
Yeah, it's like 7-8 episodes before that happened.
Yeah, but as sort of like an anniversary thing, we reached out to all the commanders we used to interview, and we just got a couple of words from each of them.
So until next week, we will see you guys then, and thank you so much for listening and watching for the past year. or however long you've been listening or watching. If this is your first episode, welcome. But yeah, we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Sean and Andy, this is Oloro wishing you a happy anniversary. I typed this into my phone and it says Happy Anniversary Canada Boat. Hey man, whatever floats your boat. Get it?
Hey, Commander's Brew, this Mossbridge troll, just pretty big guy still, and looks like you guys are getting bigger every day. So happy anniversary there.
Hello, Guafa Hazid, wishing you Commander's Brew happy anniversary. Remember, go to my store, I give you deal. Use coupon code Guafa of Brews. Get 5% off.
Hello, Commander's Brew, it's me, the mayor of Averbrook. After all this time, I'm still not a legendary creature, but I am still the mayor. In fact, they just printed a new legendary werewolf, and let's be honest, he's not as good as me. Anyways, happy 1 year anniversary, blokes. Hey guys, it's me, Freaka, God of Affliction. Happy 1 year anniversary, and I just want to say I got a whole crate of Affliction t-shirts you guys haven't picked up yet. Still holding on to those for you. All right.
Hi, this is Zergo. Happy anniversary, Commander's Brew. Remember, you can be anything you want be. Why not be 2 years old?
Happy 1 year anniversary, Commander's Brew. It's me, Braids, Cabal Minion. Here's the rub on you guys. That whole episode, I'm not even a legal commander. I'm banned in the format. You idiots. Anyways, I hope your hair has grown nice and long for me to braid.
Hello, it is I, Odric.
And I, Odric.
I'm the Master Tactician.
And I'm Lunok Marshall.
Happy 1 year anniversary to Sean and Andy from the Commander's Brew.
Yes, many more returns to you.
We've been arm wrestling this whole time for roughly half a year.
Yes, I can no longer feel my arm.
The still is not a winner, but there will be soon.
Hi, Andy and Sean. This is Phil.
And Urabrask.
And I'd like to congratulate you on 1 year of Commander's Brew.
Yeah, congrats.
The Commander
Hey, Phil.
community. Have you heard of Seen But Not Heard? You should be unseen and unheard.
Oh, that's mean, Phil. Real mean.
Ulash the Hate Seed here. Happy anniversary to Sean and Andy. I will say I do hate being here this soon after being on the show. And in fact, I generally hate making these messages, but it was a pleasure and I do hate it.
Hi, Commander's Brew. It's me, Death. Not actually a magic card, but, Alicia, still smiling at me. Still mad about it. Happy anniversary.
Hey, Commander's Brew, happy 1 year anniversary from me, Kalia. As you know, I identify as a dragon, an angel, and a demon. Well, in the last year, I've also expanded myself to identify as a few other creatures, such as ooze. I'm also now a construct. I also now put oofs out for free. And also the little-known creature type of dude. Okay, bye.
Oh, hey, Commander's Brew. It is me, Brago, King Eternal. And wishing you a happy anniversary, and that you gonna be a podcast, the Eternal.
Hi, Commander's Brew. It's Mazarek. Congratulations on 1 year. Still waiting for you to sacrifice yourself. Wings be with you.
Hello, Commander's Brew. This Shamid King of Akrosh. Happy 1 year anniversary. I forget how many in a year on your plane in Akrosh every year for months.
Happy 1 year anniversary, Commander's Brew from Grimgrin. I'm really stoked about all the zombies that are coming up this year, and if you find part of my butt, I left it behind. It probably just fell off because I'm a zombie.
Happy anniversary, Commander's Brew. It's me, Jamie Oliver. For real. Not a disguise made of skin.
Hi there, I'm Erebus, the CEO of Death Incorporated, and our records tell us it's your birthday. Congratulations for living a whole year, Commander's Brew. Here in the underworld, we understand that the anniversary of your birth means only one thing, that you are 1 year closer to death. But don't be sombered by the never-ending march of time and the impending feeling of the futility of your own existence.
Hey, Commander's Brew, it's Zidru, the Christmas goat. And I just wanted to say I hope you last another year so that you can come back and see all the great presents I have for all the girls and boys.
Hi, this is Daxos the Returned, wishing Commander's Brew a happy 1 year anniversary. Who knows what the heck I'll turn into by our second year, man. I hope it's not this bad.
Hey, it's me, Tezzeret. And, just because I was an agent of Bolus doesn't mean I'm not an agent of Anniversary. So happy anniversary to Sean and Andy at Commander's Brew. Even though you guys cost me a whole lot of money with your Don't Buy Artifacts episode. Okay, bye.
Happy anniversary, Commander's Brew. It's me, Cranko. How's the rice on the chessboard going, fellows? Many goblins.
Oh, hi, Commander's Brew. Happy anniversary, Sean and Andy. This is Dennis. Better known as part of Mina and Dennis Wildborn. Mina wishes you one too. She can't be here. She's too busy at a daytime rave. But I'm here sitting in the car doing Sudokus to make sure it doesn't get towed.
All right, this is Radio JRK the Jerk with some community shout-outs. Happy birthday, number 30 to Jeff D. 40's around the corner, my man. Shannon R. for that office promotion. Now you'll have to work weekends. And to Commander's Brew, 1 year anniversary. Stay tuned for more heavy metal hits.
Hey guys, Protein Dodger here, back again. Was just on last episode. Didn't even know you guys were coming up on 1 year. Just want to say, I hope that every year you grow, you actually grow 2 more, just like me. Chop it off. Have a grow, brother. Happy anniversary.
Hello, this is Raleva. That's how you pronounce my name, and I can also say happy anniversary, Commander Brew.
It is I, Phoenix, God of Deception, and I would just like to say happy anniversary to Sean and Andy from the Commander's Brew. I recently built the CN Tower, except it was twice as big and better, and it shot lasers, and it can beat up your dad as well, definitely.
Commander's Brew. It is I, Limdul the Necromancer, better known as one of the many Saurons. Well, happy anniversary. In 1 year's time, you could have gotten a ring all the way into a mountain. I mean, you couldn't have. We would have stopped you, but you could.
Happy 1 year anniversary, Commander's Brew. This is Bassandra. Good job, Sean and Andy. I just think you're doing so great, Andy. Let me know if you need anything, okay? Bye.
Happy 1 year anniversary, Commander's Brew from Clemney, still the most ripped giant lady ever around. People didn't like me at first, but guess what? I've been smashing faces for a whole year now, and everyone else can eat it!
Congratulations, Commander's Brew, on 1 year from Timuret the Murder King. Congratulations also on not getting murdered in a year. Happy 1 year anniversary, Commander's Brew. It is I, the Sharding Sphinx. Hopefully in the last year you've had a chance to shard all over the place. And if you get a wipe, I hope it's a full one. From now on, whoever asks who sharded, you guys did.
It is I, Oboshan, the Cephalid Emperor, and from all of us with octopus heads and pretty normal bodies, we formally decline to wish you a congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. Come back and talk to us when it's 8 years. Then we'll wish you a happy 1 year anniversary.
Hi, this is Cedrus, the Traitor King. I'm the King of Traitors. Not gonna wish you a happy anniversary.
Oh, hey, guys at Commander's Brew, it's me, Omnath, Locus of Rage. I just want to let you know, I've settled down a lot lately. I've really kind of chilled out, and I do want to say, though, that, you guys are getting a lot more attention for your birthday than me, so happy birthday!
This is Azuri Claw of Progress. Congratulations, Commander's Brew, on 1 year. Way to claw your way to the top of that one.
Hi, Commander's Brew. Happy anniversary. This is Stephanie Bolus, Nicole's kid sister. I just want you to know that in the time since we've spoken, I got my license. Call me if you want to drive somewhere.